This is as low as I can hold the robe up before it will touch the floor, and I can't use that it would touch the floor because I'm going to wear it on the bed. I also don't want it to get dirty even just by walking around here because the floor is not clean enough for my robe to touch the floor by accident. And then I also have to worry about when I step left foot, step right foot, that I not step on the robe. And then I would make it dirty from stepping on it and would do that myself with myself. I wanted to report these items here. These are the things that used to be on the floor here. And I had to tape this twice because the camera just cut out by itself. So I'm re-recording that I did this already. And it didn't go the full 2 minutes that I'm at right now. It was just, I don't know, less than that. Less than 2 minutes. Okay, so what I said was there were items belonging to the person who used to occupy this bed from my point of view. They went out this door. And then I removed things from the floor here and put them on the bed here because the bed is not for sale. You cannot remove items out of here and tell me that I have a problem. Somebody's coming to use this bed because I'm me, and I'm going to regret it. I'm going to regret everything about myself and how this bed got here because somebody died and I should have saved myself another way, right? I should be elsewhere so that I don't just kill somebody because I am myself. Until looks how you are just about to walk through the doorway because you fit through the doorway. That's why he's here. But he's not here right now because he's not here to remove these things from the bed and lay down in there. These things have been here since I put them there, and he's not come back. Charles too has not come back and removed those things and put them on the floor and used the bed himself. And I don't know why. It's possible that he's not alive. It's possible that he had a funeral, but that doth not make me cooperative that somebody else would come here and use his bed and blame him that he's not alive to make sure they don't do that. I am deceased right here, and you do not listen to me reporting to you that I am deceased. And I did describe it to Charles Toe. What it means that I am deceased is that I am the overlord speaking, and that the entity, well, he's not an entity because he's the top of the Godhead. He's not moving the body I am. And he's that small. He's the top of the Godhead. He moves everything that's not himself, and he's not moving this body right now. And he said that's really not due to himself. He can afford to move it. What he cannot afford is what you are, that you're not himself. And that's how I'm the overlord took the body the wrong way, but it was due because I don't have any prejudice that he would have ever been back here in any other conditions. And I don't have him elsewhere because he wasn't offered anything as God because of what you did, which was you snapped the lever on the superior founder, and he did not get anything offered as God to himself, that he was the soul of the superior founder outside without disclosing the leverage. He did not disclose leverage outside to the many strangers that stopped to talk to me, to him. He was still moving the body outside. He was still able to do that, but I was ordering the food because he won't eat. So that he was outside, still moving the body, still himself, but he wouldn't eat. And I made him eat. I paid money. He wouldn't pay the money. He wasn't watching the money go down to zero that he was carrying around in a bag. The hospital did that to him. Who knows what? That's unpredictable. I cannot use the hospital myself as the superior founder, and I did not find somebody to pay out an apartment or a house or anything in walking distance. They all walked right in walking distance, and they don't have legs that way. They are car people. They did not have a car for their. If they were going to eat the key, they were going to get a car, and that means they had something to live in, but they didn't have a car, and they're not car people is not true. They are car people that need a car. So I'm speaking of Hector needs a car. Alejandro needs a car. Tony needs a car. And Regis had a car, but he stole me out of a park with a car I didn't want to get in. He told me he will drive the car for Uber because I didn't run away from him. Yeah, he did stole me out of a park. So that's all North Las Vegas. That would be Regis of North Las Vegas, Tony of North Las Vegas. I'm adding one more. There's somebody who made spaghetti for me. And then there was the male, and the two of them separated. And the male threatened to abduct me when the female did not come back. And he wanted to be some kind of an offender to myself. He didn't mind saying that to me when I was in the park alone. Why wasn't the female with him? Because I don't go in. I didn't go into his apartment without the female having been the cooking. I'm not in there another way. I don't have a live another way. And he did go against that. I was alive with the female cooking, and I don't have a live the other way if he was just threatening to terrorize me with no food. But I don't have a live that way for like 42 years. I don't have a live that way. And that's somebody who needs to be abducted with a car. Well, they are walking in like they are all God and they can afford to walk and they can just get a car if they want or need one. And I'm not what that is. I was always abducted with a car in by my house, had a garage with cars in it. I just don't have a life that way that I can afford to live in a housing. When I went homeless, that was dial 911 on myself, that I was homeless and nobody paid out a key to myself of the people I just counted for you. And I don't talk to the strangers. I actually started off before, as soon as I could. I tried to tell the strangers I don't want to speak because it's homeless, and I don't want to talk over that I'm homeless because I don't have money on my mind to talk about. But they would not stopping to talk to me, and that's loitering in God. That I keep telling them I don't want to speak to you because I don't speak to anyone, and then to the next person I don't want to speak to because I don't speak to anyone. I cannot excuse myself that way. That they are making those motions in God. That's loitering. And I don't know if you do that when you are locking me out of a property, but you didn't mind that you kept locking me out of properties. And I went in places just to shower because I wanted to be clean for that I was eating in restaurants. That was Becky, who was the soul, was really doing that. The father, he was going into places to shower because it was due to take a shower. That was the threat. I could still have a reason to talk to you for my own self, even though I would rather not speak because I find myself homeless is really nothing to do with you. I didn't blame anybody for that I was homeless, including when they walked away. That's what's wrong with talking to somebody when you're homeless. If they walk away, I don't blame them for that they walked away from a homeless myself, homeless person to them. My mom figure Donna, she said something like, don't talk to strangers, or do I just say that's what they teach you in school, right? Don't talk to strangers, but everybody in school is a stranger. And I think that about the people who stopped to talk to me when I was homeless, but I did not need anything from them because I was homeless in my leverage and I was fine with that. Well, they did something above and beyond, threatened to lock me out of properties, and I just wasn't interested because I was in the leverage to be homeless. But I guess I have higher leverage than that because they locked me out of properties. But I would say that the body was lost. That means the soul of the superior founder deceased, the father, none higher than me deceased. He did stay outside until I took the body. And when I came inside here, he screamed one more problem, which is no, he doesn't want to go on the gate and he can't stop himself, but he's about to trespass. He trespassed himself like a police officer. He doesn't want to come in here. Yeah, and I gave him that. I took the body and I have to be here because it's my leverage, not his leverage. That means he wasn't really holding Charles Toe anywhere near himself. Not hold he Charles Toe wouldn't stop talking to him, wouldn't stop making threats in the creation of a life. And he's that small doing that to me. I am the big one making the big motion that it is to be alive here. I alive everything. That is not myself. I'm the one who starts creation, and I don't actually have that I can stop Charles Toe from talking to me for a continuous 21 years before I went homeless, just because Charles Toe dialed 911 whenever he was going to dial. That's any time over the 21 years that I knew him, that he would dial 911 whenever he wanted to. And when he did, I went out homeless. And that's him calling 911 on me. And he gave a specific reason. And he told the police that the lease in the office was terminated here in the apartment. And I said he could have done that immediately. And upon the greeting, he could have done that. I'm not there, absolutely not there that way. And that's how, again, the father lost the whole moving of the body himself, even though he's still here, as in I'm here, but he's silent and I'm speaking. The overlord is speaking there on that subject. So how long was father outside? 7 weeks, and that's the longest ever. No one's ever been homeless outside that long. They shun, and the father doesn't know that. That means he actually had leverage to be outside, but he doesn't go outside with his leverage because you are a terrorist. Charles Toe was a terrorist for the first 3 years of alive, and the father was not waiting for him to have his anger pass and to be different, to change. The father never did wait for Charles Toe to change. The father couldn't get away from Charles Toe like the key was itself the lock. And that's you being hysterical that I just said that. The key was not the lock. You copied the key and it was not two locks. That means he didn't count the motion that you copied the key and that he has to leave, that he's to say no to that. But that's me having offered to copy a key for you and I did not. I can't, I don't have actual authority for you to live there. That means you did something to himself that was not leveraged to himself. And he just said goodbye to you. And you don't take goodbye lightly, but it was lightly. You were looking for the copy of the key and he didn't make it for you. He made it for himself. And you just tried to say you were himself to himself for the whole key. And the key doesn't fit that way. I didn't make the key fit. And as Mas, it's more than that. The key won't fit in the door that way because why wouldn't he just change the locks if he didn't want you there? And that's you checking the address to yourself and you don't know where the lock fits in that threatening. And I didn't change the locks because it wasn't my key fit. And I couldn't get another one is not true. I have to just have another lease and pack and move someplace. And I didn't have any time to do that because you were in a hurry to come and get angry about something that went against yourself lightly at this point. Right now, everything is against yourself because the father doesn't hold alive over Howard Chait threatened to come to the apartment and knock on the door when I was not there. Well, he threatened to break the window, but I am ahead of that threatening. I didn't think he was going to break the window because I didn't let him in. I just was very nice to him about it, and I gave him a copy of the key to let himself in because I cannot be sure that I am waiting at the apartment for Howard Chait to come. It's true that I had witnesses who knew I was elsewhere at the time that Howard Chait said he was going to be at the apartment, which is Dave Epley's office's problem. Dave Epley's offices and all the other offices I went to because I'm me. I'm not waiting around at the apartment for a home invasion through the front door. I was out and about because that's where the food is. The food is outside of the apartment. The shelves of the apartment are empty if I don't go out and get the food and if I don't have all the food mines done for myself deceased. That would just never be you. That would just be me. And that's how I don't have this problem ever. And I'm not sorry. It knows in heaven, it is alive here. Heaven is alive here because the Father is holding it alive. And you don't believe in that at all. You still think that you have to talk to him about himself. Say no, and you made a whole long story. about what you think about what he said to you, and how you were just going to say, I don't care if it's alive that way, I'm going to tell you what I think, and I'm going to jerk the door locking. And that's not true, that he really ordered that on himself. And it was himself who signed the lease and went into the apartment with an agreement with an office. And you won't go in the office and present yourself. You never went into Highlands Apartments office to present yourself and about that Becky was living there and to tell them that you had an objection to the lease that was existing. You decided to object to the lease, that I signed it, and I did not present the paperwork in the office and coerce the signatures of the officers that were in there. And then they have the office key and they kept the paperwork and locked me out. That's nobody's problem. The office paperwork is keyed in. It's not keyed out. You did something wrong to yourself, and I'm not done. I want nothing to do with you in the afterlife, because this body is deceased the wrong way because of what you did to me sexually, which is sexually abuse myself on and on and on. And I counted it 900 times, and you never told anyone that I said no to you. That you don't live here, so that you can do that anytime you want. And we exhausted the threatening in heaven, that you did it anytime you wanted, until you think I said no to you about Barack Obama running for president in the year 2008 elections. I had a dream about Barack Obama, and I said it, that you were interrupting another threatening that was going on for myself that you didn't know. I would have to say it. I don't have another way to say it. It was myself who had the dream. That's not alive. That's unconscious, not really. That's unconscious to you, is not alive to me, that I am not just asleep, but I'm dreaming. Yes, that means I reported myself was not alive that way, and you did stop sexually abusing myself since then. You didn't ask or anything, but you don't have an alibi that you are not going to ask. Tick, 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 tick. You are due to move out since the year 2008 by your own self, but you don't pay for yourself to be elsewhere. You keyed yourself in with a copy of a key that was given to you, according to you, another way and for other reasons, according to you, Charles Toe. And that's your bed right there, because I didn't put a bed in a deceased area, which would be like a living room area. Or really, we could just call it an entryway, because the door is right here. There's not due to be a bed in the entryway. So if this bed is not here, this door opens this way. I'm opening it myself. Okay? If this bed is not here, the door will go further on its hinges, and there is that which is newly installed. And it was elsewhere's just wall. That wasn't there because there was central air, which is covered up right here. And then this is covered up right here. There was a vent here. And then this is covered up right here. There was a vent here. And there's no vent in the hallway, no vent in the bathroom. But if this bed gets moved, there's going to be this problem with the door comes in contact with that air conditioning. And that is what the maintenance staff turned it on to acclimate in here, that it is comfortable, 75 degrees air conditioning, for that it's summer heat out there, over 100 today. It'll be 100 today. 100 degrees Fahrenheit. It's when this was installed. This is a new one. This is new. When this was installed, this was turned on after Charles Toe was not here. Otherwise, Charles Toe, I suppose, would turn it on for himself. But I don't assume that, because he's not here. That means he didn't do it. So if this bed moves, this door goes all the way to the... I can move it now, but if I do, that's moving my back injury, and I don't want to. The bed is, it's a foldable. This folds up. It's from Amazon, and it folds up, so I'm just going to show you that it does move. by that it folds up. This is, see the hinges. What about here? Right there. This thing folds right here. So the bed does collapse and it goes right out the door the same way it came in. This is an unfurnished apartment. I don't have any leverage for this. That is illegal, and it's the one that's on. The one that's off, this one is off. This one doesn't have the door interference with that is here on the wall, and this is also new. And it's not on, as you can see. And I'll go to the outside here. It is not on. This is not on. This one is on. So that is about to die right on. The superior founder did not do that to himself or itself. And I don't have the leverage to be elsewheres right now to pack and move to another apartment if that's what Mitch wants. That's how he's going to pay for the key. And that's me needing to call someone and order damages on the apartment. And I did not do that this time. And I can't prove it. How can I prove it? Somebody did something illegal and they're going to testify that they did it. God does not take the testimony. I am the judge. This is a key. It was my key anyway. Charles Toe came after police left me here. That he knew where the apartment was and he wanted a copy of the key. And I gave it to him that fast, and it took him 12 years to decease out of that. He asked for a key, or, that he's not here right now, wherever he is. I don't know where he is, but he's deceased to myself, that he asked for the key. And it took him 12 years to get out of that ask. So far, unless he comes back, but I don't see him coming back because I hear myself above myself says that myself is come for myself deceased. Myself, the creation of myself, and the creation of the where I am living is come to myself deceased. So I'll be deceased out of the door locking before I see Charles Toe again, is what I can say from being able to hear God in my mind, or talking out of my mouth like right now. I'm going to post this on the internet, but it's not in order yet. I would say I don't see Charles Toe coming back here, but I don't know that yet until I am deceased out of the door locking. And I also think that's what people should say if they find somebody they know is missing in public. If somebody's missing in a prison, you might hear that they died, and you're going to be next because the prison needs to be executed. I'm saying I think Charles Toe is a missing person, but I confirm myself might die before I see Charles Toe again. But I am not to be injured or hurt or murdered. I don't want to be bludgeoned or hurt or murdered. I don't want accidented to myself. I want the God who's creating myself to give me deceasement because I waited for him. And everything I did for him, for myself deceased. And that's what I think is God to myself, that I will die this way. But the rest of you, you are an unclean death to myself, and you are due in jails and prisons. As soon as you find yourself alive and blinking your eyes, you are due in prisons because you're not myself. And that's where you can get a death on yourself. And if you don't know that about yourself because you're illegally alive, you need to be very careful with your own God and talk to your own God that you need to know how to be yourself on your way to see God when you die. And that will lead you to prison. That will not lead you to, I'll have what you're having, give me your keys and get out. That is not excused by your God. Your God is not going to say he is in it with you. You are not allowed to crime somebody because you're illegally alive. You don't hold yourself alive without me, and I will not help you with myself's alive. I am deceasing myself out of the feminine genitals And once I am deceased out of form, you will be responsible for that. You said to me, I'll have what you're having, give me your keys and get out. And what are you going to do about it? Sure, you're just a Nazi, a Knotsee, Nazi. What am I going to do about it? You're a blasphemy like no other. I am God deceased right here, and you are a blasphemy like no other with this problem. The people who walked by him in public belong in prisons, and they should have ever been in prison so that if they walk by somebody in a prison, that they have security on their walking. You have illegal walking. Anyone with a penis illegally walks outside of a locked prison. If they have any keys at all, they need someone to key themselves in a prison, and that person would have guns on themselves. That means if you're keying in a hoopiness in prison, you have a gun on yourself and a gun on someone else who is guarding the door and the keys. You don't afford to be in public and high-speed trafficking. You don't afford the nice life that is for me. You're not due to see the traffic, and neither am I. I'm due to see the streets are empty because there's no drivers to move the cars. There's no drivers with illegal genitals to drive the cars because they still see over the steering wheel. That's not due. You're so unfair to the size of myself because you think the size of yourself is big and important. I don't agree with you.